Disclaimer, I'm not a certified trainer or fitness professional or a doctor. I'm just a dude that spent a whole lot of time under a barbell, sometimes being crushed by it. This is my method, and I invite others to share their methods down in the comments. Additionally, I've tried to write this to be accessible for beginners, so everyone else, bear with me. Also, content warning for some weight loss / weight gain talk. If that's not your thing, just skip past the nutrition section and take care of yourself. I've trained on and off for the last 5 years. My best on-camera lifts include a 215 strict press, a 200 for 9 sandbag push press, a 405 squat, 500-pound deadlift, and a 315 bench. My actual best lifts are a 225 strict press, a 455 squat, a 545 deadlift, and a 335 bench, all at about 5'8" and 230-ish pounds. And this isn't a before and an after of about 160 or so to about 230, 240, somewhere around that neighborhood. My stats are a 19-inch neck, a 47-inch chest, 54-inch shoulders, 17-inch arms, 14.5-inch forearms, 40-inch waist, 50-inch hips, 31-inch legs, and 17-inch calves. I'm not the biggest or the strongest guy, but I'm constantly asked, "Hey Max, how do I become a muscle bear?" My most important advice, have a plan and stick to it. Your plan will depend on several different factors. Firstly, your equipment. COVID has robbed most of us from having access to a gym. I have a home gym at the moment, but I know not everyone has access to a barbell. But you can certainly get started with bodyweight at a local calisthenics park or with some bands. Then your training style. Do you like lifting heavy or do you like to rep it out? As your training age increases, sometimes you have to do more of one to do the other. Do you like full body training? Or do you want to separate your training into upper body days and lower body days, like in an upper lower? Or do you want to split out by movement type, like we would see in a push-pull legs? Some of this will be limited by your equipment. For example, with bands, you will need to do higher rep work. When my home gym was just bands, I became very comfortable with sets of 20, 30, and even more than that. But especially because of the pandemic, there are programs out there for every equipment level and many different training types. Lastly, your end goals. Are you in it just for the aesthetic or more than that? That will greatly determine your training. As a strongman, there are things that I do to be better at competing that I wouldn't necessarily recommend to others who aren't looking to compete. For example, a yoke walk or a continental clean and press. That being said, I think exercises like the squat, bench, deadlift, and strict press or overhead press without leg drive are some of the best for building muscle. But there are many alternatives, variations, and assistance work that I would urge you to employ. Now let's look at training. The first part of your plan is to pick a program. A program is a finite length, typically anywhere from 3 to 12 weeks exercise regimen that is built with a particular goal in mind. A program typically has specific movements to perform for specific set and rep ranges. Some are movement specific, like a 12-week deadlift plan. Others are for general strength or strength in a handful of movements. When you pick a program, it is important for you to believe in the program that you're picking. If you believe in the program that you pick, you're typically more likely to stick with it, and then you'll put in more effort, which then leads to more gains. However, sometimes picking a program is not always about what you like, but what's best for you at that moment. However, if you're a beginner, you can probably do most anything and gain strength in size. There are many long words for how people time or periodize their programming. But something that is important to note is that at some point you will have to lift something for a lot of reps or sets. This will help you build size and build a base, like the foundation of a house. To borrow terminology from Jim Lindler's 531, we'll call this a leader. After several weeks of that, then you can lift heavy weights in progression for less reps. This will help you realize your base and build a big old pyramid. Or a spear if you're a muscle chub, I guess. Summarily, this would be called an anchor. As someone that was looking to build size and strength, had a barbell, but didn't have a whole lot of plates or a power rack at the time. As you can see, things has changed. Deep Water by John Anderson was a lifesaver. Deep Water is a program that you can get for free on John Anderson's site, where the goal is to do 100 reps of a movement in as little sets as possible. So, needless to say, that was my leader. Then I realized the strength that I had built using Deepwater, my leader, with the SVR2 anchor from 531 Forever. But many of the other 531 variations are solid choices for size and or strength, as well as conjugate. And a big shout out to Brian Allsrew's programs. Please go check out that dude's channel. I like these programs because of the focus on compound movements. Since I'm a strong man, I compete in strict press as well as the deadlift, so getting better at those things always helps me out, as well as the reduced focus on machines. However, if you like bodybuilding, machines, or want to actually compete as a bodybuilder, go check out John Meadows' channel on YouTube. Now that you have a program that you're following, you're going to want to do some conditioning. Conditioning refers to more athletic type training. It could be basically anything: swimming, running, hill sprints, a CrossFit WOD, etc. Typically, your program should have guidelines for the type of conditioning you should be doing, as well as how much you should be doing it throughout the week. But no matter if it's light or heavy conditioning, you need to be doing it. Light conditioning is basically factored in to assist with your recovery, and all conditioning will help keep you heart healthy while you pack on the pounds or while you lose them. So now we're heading into the nutrition section. The content warning for those with eating disorders or just don't want to hear about weight gain or weight loss at this current moment. I'll have timestamps where you can skip. But without further ado, let's get into it. So talking about gaining and losing weight, we are now at the most important bit: eating. This is definitely dependent on your goals, but there are some constants. You're going to want to eat a lot of protein. I recommend a Costco membership. The typical recommendation is anywhere from 0.7 grams to 2 grams of protein per pound of lean body mass. But don't get too anal about these measurements. The only type of anal you should be doing is in the bedroom. And don't forget this. Oof. Why did I actually do that? Time your carbs around your workouts for energy. And on the topic of carbs, unless you're having a cheat day or want to be a muscle chub, you're going to want to decide if you want to eat more fats or carbs. Depending on how many abs you want or how far you want your belly to hang out, the stricter you're going to have to be on ratios and amounts. Myself, I'm good with a single ab, so I let burritos love my body as I love my body. But if you want to get much bigger, you'll have to track that surplus, and the same with tracking a deficit when getting smaller. And I don't mean you have to go out and buy a food scale and track your serving sizes to 1,000th. Unless you know that's going to work for you, then go off, I guess. Just don't become obsessive with it. To be honest, I don't count calories or macros. I didn't when I was 200 pounds, and I certainly don't at 240. I'm not a bodybuilder, nor am I preparing for a contest, so there's really no reason for me to. And I feel that's most likely the same for many others. Just weigh in a couple of times a week, track your progress in the mirror, maybe take your measurements once a month, and be honest with yourself. If you waited enough time and nothing is instantaneous in this game, try a few months and nothing changes, I mean like absolutely nothing, then maybe it's time to review what you're doing and change it up. Go to a professional nutritionist or watch a YouTube video from someone who is. For the love of all that's holy, just don't go into a massive calorie deficit or surplus without knowing what works for you just because you want to see instantaneous progress. Slow progress is progress. It may not be sexy, but it's what usually happens. Now, before I end this video, I wanted to leave you all with some of the things I wish I knew when I first started training. Some delicious protein-rich bites of knowledge, if you will. First off, progress or progressive overload doesn't just mean adding weight to the bar. You can add reps, lower your rest periods, improve your quality of reps, and if you're still progressing in any of those areas with your plan, keep going. I cannot stress this enough. Slow progress is progress. Which brings me to my next point. Everything works, just not forever. People tend to get caught up in the details. High reps work, but so do low reps. Squatting every day works, I heard, but low frequency is also the way for naturals? What? Blah, 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 blah. As long as you put in the effort and stick to your plan, most of you will make progress. After a while, your body will get used to the stimulus. However, my bank account will never become used to the stimulus. Maybe another stimmy? Come on, give me another stimmy, Biden. I need another stimmy. Lastly, I'll leave you all with this. Know the difference between strength and getting better at something. If you're a powerlifter, by which I mean someone who competes in powerlifting, then you may not care much about one or the other as long as your total increases. But if you truly want to be, insert your country here's next top muscle bear, then a banana bench isn't going to give you a huge furry chest. Well, that's the end of the video. I'm not anti-big arch benching, especially if it helps you win your powerlifting meet, so subscribe, ring bell, don't leave comments about that, leave comments about your total or your stats or something. Like the video too, I guess. As always, my links are always in the description. Have a great rest of your day or whenever you're watching this. Okay, bye!